Welcome, amigos. This is my first thoughts on the new Genesis and Nubatama reveals. To give you a little background, I actually started the game playing Nubatama and also played with Genesis. So both of the clans are close to my heart, as you can say. So I'm going to be going over the Genesis and Nubatama stuff together. So with Genesis, we got a new stride, and it's actually pretty good. It has Revelation, so that's one thing that's good. And then the skill has once per turn, Counter Blast 1, flip a copy of itself, Soul Charge 3. For each card that was Soul Charged with the Revelation ability, your opponent chooses one of his or her rear guards and retires it. I thought this was actually pretty good, especially you can do this on first stride. So if you got like rushed or there is a nasty Forerunner or even a great one in the back row that you need to get rid of, this stride could definitely help with that. And if you're playing on Maruta, you're more than likely going to retire 3 because most of your units are all Revelation, unless you got some like vanilla triggers or some other units that don't have a Revelation in it. Fenrir can easily use this as well, but it might be geared more to the Revelation build of Fenrir, not so much with the Wiseman. But with Wiseman, on top of that, is the second skill that this stride has, is the Continuous Vanguard skill, GB3. All your rearguards get power plus 2000 for each card in your soul with a Revelation ability. So Wiseman in itself and other cards that can go pretty good with this just receive a massive power boost. So that way you can take advantage of that. And in the terms of the Wiseman loop or play, it's a free buff to Wiseman in a sense. And if you got a couple of Taros and you're able to soul charge some of them back with the Greppa, Wiseman's going to hit some decent numbers by himself without Gouges involved and stuff. So that can help. And then if you have Gouges, you can make it a much bigger number. But definitely this card is definitely welcome in Genesis decks. I can see this card playing at 4. One of the things that why would this be played at 4 is it also has control aspect to it, which Gradora is releasing for us this weekend. Then we have already Overlord, we have Chaos getting even bigger boosts in the new booster coming out. And so basically having access to some retirement against those clans just help a lot too. Where with the Revelation stuff, it's been mostly rearguard based, so you're focusing on your rearguards getting big, multi-attack when you can, and etc. So having this ability against them is definitely going to help us out. So with the next unit, it was Goddess of Karmatic Winds, Ninga. So it's a grade 2 and it has Revelation as well, Vanguard or Rearguard Circle, so that's neat. What's also neat about this is 10k base, so it has some defense aspect to it, and it has another skill on top of it. If a card was not put into soul during this turn by an effect, this card cannot attack a Vanguard. So if you didn't soul charge with Revelation or some other kind of skill, like a Witch, it can't attack Vanguard, that's all. So it's kind of like a restriction for you to, like, you should use Revelation and then you rest one of your rearguards that you have in your field, so that way this guy could actually attack and such. I don't know if he might be play or she. I think it's a she actually. Now I see the long hair. So if I like show you guys the next cards, let's see. There we go. Kotonoha, for example. We play Kotonoha. We play cards like Senri. We also play cards like Nini. So you gotta find a room between these guys, and I'm not sure if the room is there, but I can see totally the aspects of it being a helpful card in this respect. So who knows, with more support reveal, this card might actually become more viable, more useful too. And yeah, without a doubt, it's a 10k base, so Genesis decks that struggle with the early game are a good example, or Regalia. Generally those decks want Regalia units, but we wouldn't mind some defensive power up in the form of a 10k base grade 2. There is also the Regalia at the 10k, but I mean, you are playing a vanilla at that point, where this is a 10k with some of a skill with Revelation in it, so it might be worth it. I don't know. Playtesting will help. So then, now into Nubatama. So with Nubatama, we got a glimpse of what the new Shiranui does, Zanki. So for the first skill, it does Soul Blast 1. At the beginning of your right phase, you may pay the cost. If you do, you draw a card, and all fighters choose a card from their hand and call it a rearguard circle, which is actually neat. So we get to +1 for a Soul Blast 1, and then also force the opponent to put a card from their hand to the rearguard circle. So if they do call it over a rearguard, they are still minusing 1 at that point because it's coming from their hand and not coming from the drop zone, so that's super helpful. And since you're drawing a card, you also get to dig a little deeper for your through your deck, so you may actually help you with your combos that turn too. And the fact that you can also call a rearguard is timing. So it has the second skill, which is dominate once per turn. It's non-GB. When this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle or when your G unit strike, choose up to any of your fighters' rearguards, and it gets 2k. And if that rearguard was an opponent's, stand it and dominate it, and attack any other unit. So what I wanted to say is that if you can call Fudai, you can call Genkai, you can call other units. Let's see if I can pull them up right now. Not that guy. Fudai. You can call Fudai, you can call Metsu, and Genkai, of course. Once you stride, they're GB1 live, and so then when you dominate, they will be on the field now and actually see the dominated attack, and so you can proc them right off the back without the worry of actually calling these early game, try to put them in the front row, hope they don't get attacked or killed, or put them in the back row, and then hopefully that you can use it in your next stride turn to take advantage. So just draw power from Genkai and Metsu, of course, too, getting that power boost of 10k. And then Fudai seeing that extra attack, giving it that +2. So, let's see. What else? The other thing to know is that the Dominate works when it's placed on Vanguard Circle. So finally, we can use Dominate before GB. There are other grade 3s in like the trial deck that you could Dominate pre-GB, but this one has Shiranui in the name, which is helpful, and it has a useful skill even when you stride. And then, of course, it has the useful skill that you can activate at the beginning of your right phase. So this is actually pretty good. I will definitely consider playing this for the full Dominate build. So yeah. The other stuff to talk about was the reveals. We got a new G Guardian, Rikudo Stealth Dragon, Gando Kuroaken, Nubatama in their names. So when this unit is placed in Guardian Circle, if your opponent has 3 or more cards in his or her hand, this unit gets plus 5k shield until the end of the battle. Then, if your opponent has 6 or more cards his or her hand, this unit gets plus 10k shield. So if I'm reading this correctly, we get plus 15k shield if they have 6 or more cards overall, which is great. This is a 30k G-Guard, making our Vanguard 41k base for the battle. And Nubatama has issues with G-Guard power, in the such as we have like the Jinx G-Guards that only get plus 5k if there's 6 or less or 6 or more, etc. And we would appreciate a little more power because Vanguard attacks are getting bigger. Rearguard columns are even getting bigger, so that's definitely helpful. You can always use the Gahurakan. Where is it? There it is. Not that. This one. Gahurakan G-Guard, because it only grabs the grade 1 from the back row, and if it doesn't have a booster, this doesn't do anything. And then the other thing to know is that our Fighters Collection G-Guard Shinx, she only gets the massive power up if your opponent's gonna not discard, but it's just not practical in the terms when you really need the shield value, is what I'm getting at. So this guy is definitely going to be played at, I would say 1 or 2, probably 2. The next card was Stealth Beast Miss Frog. Somebody mentioned Jiraiya. It's a 6k base, GB1. Put into your soul. When another dominated unit attacks during your turn, pay the costs. If you do, draw a card. And that unit gets plus 6k until the end of the battle. This one's specific to the end of the battle, so that 6k doesn't go with the unit to the end of the turn. With the new Zanki, it's definitely, I guess, appreciated because it only gives 2k. So if you give 2k to a 9k, that makes it 11k, and if you give it a plus 6, makes it a 17k. So it passes that 16k mark to make your opponent drop more shield. And in the case of a 7k, it kind of shit out of luck because you got 7 plus 2 makes 9. 9 plus 6 is 15k, so you are short. So I'm not sure what other cards they're going to be including in this set. People are saying that the new Shiranui Strad might give an extra power up on domination on rearguards or units in general. So maybe that too is compensated with that skill coming up. We just have to wait and see. This guy I can see definitely maybe being used. It's nice that you get to draw and you get the soul out of it, and then you get the power into that one battle, which it can come up. It's an extra card that your opponent has to drop at that point. So who knows? We'll see. Yeah. So other than that, that's it for now. We'll just have to see more reviews from Nubatama and Genesis in general. So thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like, comment down below if you guys want to get a discussion going. Share it and subscribe. See ya.